The assumed paradigm for how chances arise, resources arrive, connections grow, and difficulties resolve themselves is divine coordination. What formerly seemed miraculous now seems to be the inevitable outcome of living in accordance with the principles of the kingdom and divine flow. The truth that gave that miraculous wake-up slap isn't done with its work as this cosmic drama comes to a glorious end. It's only the beginning. Every institution, relationship, and setting where genuine divine assignment faces resistance from phony leadership and counterfeit authority is experiencing the revolution brought about by your vindication. Your narrative has turned into a driving force for systemic change that goes well beyond individual triumph. The foundation of the revolution is the idea that really chosen ones don't just prevail in the face of adversity. They turn obstacles into fuel, attacks into acceleration, and opposition into opportunity. Its emergence was expedited beyond what could have been accomplished via peaceful evolution by the exact powers that were used to ruin your task. Your adversaries did more than simply fail to stop you. They unintentionally become tools for your advancement. However, the truth revolution goes beyond your own personal validation and includes a prophetic illustration of how divine justice functions when genuine assignment clashes with institutional dishonesty. People are seeing your path and discovering that influence doesn't have to come at the expense of ethics. Divine calling does not need to be diluted for human validation or approval, nor does authenticity need to be sacrificed for acceptability. Other people might use your example as a guide to create their own divine destiny. The revolutionary ideas that proved effective for you become replicable tactics that other selected individuals might use to fight back against resistance and deceit. Through comparable faithfulness testing and authenticity growth, people who meet the requirements can access the power you are given. This entire series began with a cosmic slap that was more than a condemnation of personal dishonesty. It marked the beginning of a new age in which the truth will triumph over falsehoods. Despite structural or human resistance, divine assignment emerges and authenticity wins over performance. You have achieved more than simply a personal triumph. It serves as a global reminder that the laws of the kingdom of light and the kingdom of darkness are different. Your breakthrough is creating a generational impact that goes beyond monetary inheritance. Future chosen ones will learn from its spiritual heritage how to discern their calling, cultivate their abilities, stay true to themselves, and actualize their assignment in spite of obstacles, challenges, or seeming impossibilities. Your tale becomes an enduring testament that inspires others to overcome comparable obstacles. Others who emulate your commitment, genuineness, and unwavering pursuit of your purpose in the face of adversity might benefit from the acceleration you experienced. For those who meet the requirements via comparable spiritual and moral growth, the gatekeeper procedure that safeguarded your assignment becomes available security. Your authority serves as a template for those who demonstrate their worth through comparable evaluation procedures. Because of this, your adversary's well-planned strike was more than just an attempt to halt you. They knew instinctively that your achievement would lead to comparable success for countless others who have been waiting for evidence that genuine divine assignment may materialize in the real world in spite of institutional resistance. They get vindicated by your vindication. Their breakthrough is yours. Their encouragement to reach their own divine potential is transformed into your ascent. The truth that confronted deception with your tale is still there in any circumstance when genuine intent is met with opposition. When systemic resistance to divine calling exists. When those who have been selected require encouragement to carry out their job in spite of situations that seem impossible or hopeless. When born by faithful, true vessels, your example provides timeless proof that truth always prevails, authenticity always wins, and divine assignment always materializes. What started as karma giving deceit a cosmic slap has turned into a never-ending revolution in which truthfulness is valued above all else. Divine assignment thrives unrepentantly, and those who are selected live out their calling in all its glory without hindrance or restriction. The face that was hit with the truth is still in the process of healing. However, the chosen one who lives out that truth is only beginning a revolution that will reverberate throughout centuries, encouraging others to believe, stay true to themselves, and follow their calling with the same fearless authority that turned your tale from one of victimization into one of triumph. The revolution is still going on. Selected one, you're more than simply a recipient, too. In the everlasting truth movement that is revolutionizing the way divine assignment appears in the material world, you are a leader, a catalyst, and a demonstration. Selected one, what the face hears from the five fingers. Slap, for that's precisely what just took place. The reality has just hit someone in the face, and the sound continues to reverberate across invisible dimensions. Karma just cracked its knuckles and delivered a heavenly backhand that sent shockwaves across every world where justice was owed, while you're still processing these words. This isn't a sentimental spiritual dream. Cosmic law enforcement is at work here. You're going to find out why your adversaries abruptly stop talking, what caused some doors to slam in faces that aren't yours, and why everything feels so different in your life than it did a few weeks ago. The universe functions similarly to a skilled chess player, and any entity that believed it could influence, trick, or jeopardize your heavenly duty was now proclaimed to be in checkmate. Imagine karma as a giant Bruce, checking spiritual tickets at the gate of fate, and some people only finding out their permits were fake. The spiritual world is still feeling the effects of that cosmic smack. Furthermore, your current emotions are not coincidental. It's the result of heavenly justice colliding with dishonesty. You were wondering why certain folks seemed oddly aloof recently and why the vibe felt different. Why seemingly intractable issues began to resolve themselves. Even while no one was looking, karma was already carrying out a precise blow that would justify every tear you shed and every silent prayer you said. Human hands did not give this smack. It was the clash of someone's well-crafted falsehoods and the unvarnished reality. The result is disastrous when deceit and heavenly reality collide. Imagine someone who has been making up complex tales about your personality, your vocation, and your future only to have their inconsistencies revealed in front of onlookers. For you, however, here is when the narrative becomes intriguing. People are still in shock from that cosmic hit. Yet you're getting promoted to a position of extraordinary power. A crown of vindication is now being placed on your head by the same heavenly force that brought about justice. This explains why your thoughts have been evolving lately. This explains why you're seeing opportunities that weren't there even a few months ago. The lovely irony is that your adversaries' attacks led to their own devastation. The cosmic database included all of the lies they lied about you. They were actually creating the same weapon that would destroy their own reputation, even though they believed they were assembling evidence against you. Nobody is entertained by their drama about you anymore because of the spiritual void the slap created. Instead of creating their own future, they are left to confront the meaninglessness of lives centered around thwarting yours. The universe is giving you a new spiritual rank during this season of divine promotion, which gives you access to opportunities, connections, and resources that were previously out of your reach. There is more to this month than just time on a calendar. It symbolizes the magnificent imperial force that has lain dormant within of you and has now been given permission to materialize in your outside world. Most individuals never see the recognition mechanisms that your authority upgrading relies on. You get spiritual credentials that unlock doors and realms beyond the physical world when you've been put to the test in flames that others couldn't withstand, honed under pressures that would shatter ordinary vessels, and proved genuine in times when being genuine seemed like foolishness. Your foes unintentionally set off a heavenly evaluation of your character file as they were scheming to bring you down. Every instance in which you opted for honesty above expediency was documented as proof of your willingness to take on more responsibility. Your dedication to divine assignment was demonstrated by every sacrifice you made for your mission. While your opponents believed they were constructing a case for your annihilation, the universe was constructing a case for your advancement. Personal empowerment is only one aspect of this authority. It has to do with expanding the task. You're preparing yourself to deal with resources and levels of influence that would have beyond your prior capabilities. Your long-held dream, the one that appeared unachievably big, is about to be paired with the power to become a reality. People now pay different attention when you talk. The consequences of your actions are more extensive than they were previously. Saying no to chances that don't fit your mission makes that refusal an unbreakable boundary that people automatically respect. Spiritual promotion is what's causing the acceleration you're feeling, as if you were transferred from ordinary traffic to the expressway of fate. Months now pass, whereas the same travel would have taken years in the past. A heavenly security system that functions with military accuracy has been placed throughout your life, while you've been concentrating on honing your talents and following your destiny. The door to your destiny is guarded by a spiritual gatekeeper. Additionally, they are using the intergalactic border patrol's thoroughness to verify credentials. The individuals who once had effortless access to your vitality, knowledge, emotional space, and innovative concepts are now being halted at checkpoints they were unaware of. This gatekeeper scans digital codes to read intents. They use X-ray vision to investigate motivations and spot dangers before they become real. The individual who believed they could use charm to gain access to your inner circle was abruptly prevented from doing so by spiritual security. This is where the beauty lies. You don't need to develop suspicion or paranoia for this to work smoothly. While you only see that certain individuals spontaneously leave your circle and others are attracted with previously unheard of genuineness, the gatekeeper manages the screening automatically. However, the gatekeeper uses two protocols to prohibit incorrect connections and expedite correct ones. Supernatural acceleration is taking place in the partnerships and possibilities that fit your divine mission. After a single discussion, doors open. Resources may be found with little effort and come from unexpected places. The gatekeeper sees clean souls, genuine callings, and divine assignments from a distance that is beyond human measurement. Paths clear with an ease that transcends rational explanation. Synchronicity multiplies, and impediments vanish when someone enters your life with aims that align with yours. Because of this, the right individuals are entering your life at the appropriate times with the right opportunities, connections, or resources. Each adversary who received that heavenly reality check was a failure of the gatekeeper screening procedure. Their access was permanently terminated when their phony credentials were discovered and their fake tickets were found. They aren't only barred from your present level. Because the gatekeeper security clearance works across all dimensions of your future, they are prevented from accessing any level you will ever achieve. If you feel the abundance of divine love in your heart, now is the time to share it. You can help spread God's blessings by clicking the Super Thank button on YouTube and contributing $20 or more. This divine gift will touch not only your life, but also the souls of many others through this platform. Each of you has a sacred place in God's great design, and your generosity will be the fruit of our prayers. Take action now. Share your blessings to exalt His kingdom, for you were created to do even greater things in God's loving hands. May God bless you. A spiritual rocket of chaos was on its way to your life, but it was just deflected and stopped. The universe was putting in place a defense mechanism that would turn your adversary's attacks into fuel for your acceleration while you were hoping for a breakthrough. Compound interest was applied to each curse that was said during your lifetime. The bad things they said would happen to you are now becoming their own reality. Their goals have grown confused as a result of the confusion they attempted to instill in your head. Because of this, issues that looked insurmountable only a few weeks ago have either resolved on their own or have obvious answers. The conflicts you spent years training for simply came to an end before they started. Even when success appears unattainable, the redirection produces the sensation that you are unbeatable. You encounter surprising allies when you enter dangerous regions. Before you exert pressure, you run into tremendous resistance and see it vanish. Those that oppose you are learning that doing so is like striking a spiritual mirror. The force of the impact they meant for you is amplified and reflected back to them. They're suffering from the bitter taste of their own medication. In the meantime, you're getting the opportunity that was intended to be monopolized by others, the favor that was intended to be diverted away from you, and the blessing that was intended to be prevented. If you've chosen one, you've entered the Mario Kart acceleration zone, where success and belief shorten time frames and multiply results beyond what would be possible with ordinary effort. Where once modest achievements are suddenly yielding exponential results. This is your pocket of miraculous momentum. The principles of advancement are typical for others, but you're experiencing miraculous acceleration. Months-long projects are being finished in weeks. Relationships are being formed in days that should take years to build. This is not an accident. Your prosperity is being precisely planned by divine cooperation, something that human planning could never do. Every component of your breakthrough symphony is being timed by the cosmos to have the greatest possible impact. Chaos hit your adversaries, but you're being planned into order. This equation's believing component encompasses more than just optimistic thinking. The outcome of diligent progress is foreseen in this prophetic vision. It takes more than merely striving harder to achieve. Your efforts are multiplied above your normal potential by heavenly favor. The effects are amazing when these two forces come together during an acceleration season. Success appears in ways that make past challenges seem like the past, and vision becomes reality at unfathomable rates. The cosmic gatekeeper just verified everyone's spiritual credentials, and only the true are going through. See karma as a giant Bruce, standing at the doorway to the next phase of your destiny, scrutinizing tickets under the watchful eye of divine protection. Some others thought they could feign their way into areas designated for legitimate boats by approaching that gate with false passes. After glancing over the phony tickets, Big Bruce handed down the verdict. This isn't real. Move aside. The judgment process relies on the identification of authenticity, which cannot be manipulated or circumvented by performance. It reads congruence between one's private and public personas. It can identify heavenly fingerprints on genuine callings that are impossible to fake or pilfer. It's not only a valid ticket. VIP access gives people access to benefits that they cannot obtain through performance or politics. The doors that are opening for you are invitations to unique experiences that are only available to ships that have undergone testing to verify their legitimacy. This is why those who see something in your soul that credentials cannot falsify are offering you chances that need a great degree of faith. Because of this, platforms are emerging from gatekeepers who have excluded more eligible applicants yet acknowledge divine appointment when it occurs. The ruling established a distinction between genuine and fake. That's happening in real life right now. Opportunities have dried up, doors have been closed, and favor has been withheld from those who failed the authenticity test. Those that passed are finding that they can achieve levels they never imagined, influence they never thought possible, and resources they never thought were available. Your adversaries learned that the system functions on principles that cannot be acquired, despite their belief that they could alter it. You were cultivating real character while others were honing their acts. You were creating genuine substance while they were creating their images. The findings spoke for themselves, and the verdict made the distinction clear. The lovely irony is that by criticizing your sincerity, they were able to plan their own judgment. Their attempts to discredit you simply served to reveal their own deceit. Their attempts to undermine your vocation simply served to highlight their own lack of divine calling. They became the defendants in their own judgment, even if they believed they were the prosecutors in your trial. Your internal guiding system recently received a heavenly update that allows it to function with previously unheard of precision, so trust your intuition. Clear indications are being picked up by your spiritual radar. Even before it materialized, you sensed a change. Before anybody else noticed, you sensed a shift in energy. This improved intuition is more than just superior instincts. It is a prophetic intellect that gets its downloads straight from God. You're not only making educated guesses when you have such knowledge about a circumstance, a person, or an opportunity. You're gaining access to cosmic intelligence, which sees everything, understands all motivations, and predicts every possible consequence before it materializes. With X-ray vision that sees through all the pretense, the upgrade enables you to see through deceit. Your internal alert system quickly recognizes the discrepancy between someone's stated intentions and their actual goals when they approach you with ulterior motives. Before you spend time, effort, or money on chances that have conditions attached, your natural radar detects the hidden costs. Dear brothers and sisters, may God's peace be with you today. I am here to remind you of a profound truth. Our existence is grounded in God's divine plan, unshaken by the world's fleeting concerns. As the Holy Bible says, everything done in faith will be rewarded by God's abundant blessings. Luke 6 verse 38, like that mighty oak tree, our roots are deeply anchored in God's universal truth. Every step we take, every stance we hold is secured by His power. And now, you have the opportunity to be a part of this blessing. When you click the Super Thanks button and make a $100 donation, this act will return to you 100-fold. However, protection is not the only benefit of the intelligence boost. Additionally, it's strategic advice that puts you in the best possible position in every circumstance. You're getting timing insights that let you wait when the patient better serves your needs and move when action yields the best outcomes. You're receiving information about people who can assist you steer clear of connections that will deplete your resources and invest in relationships that will pay off in the long run. Your adversaries are learning that it is like attempting to lie to a human lie detector when you try to fool someone with enhanced spiritual intelligence. You become instantly aware of every contradiction in their stories. Your internal warning system is activated by each attempt at manipulation. The instant they try, any misrepresentation of their personality or motivations is exposed. Because of this, you may enter circumstances that ought to be perplexing and quickly grasp the true dynamics at work. For this reason, when you first meet someone, you can tell right away if they share your purpose or not. Because of this, you can assess prospects fast and precisely without doing a lot of study or analysis. You start acting with confidence that other people perceive as divine knowledge as a result of the enhanced intuition. Because your judgments are informed by intelligence that takes into account things that others cannot perceive, they regularly result in favorable results. When you invest in people whose character has been validated by divine understanding, your relationships thrive. Because you follow pathways that are in harmony with divine purpose and cosmic timing, your possibilities increase. Your old enemies are in a state of bewildered inaction due to an intriguing development in the spiritual world. You have totally wiped off the entertainment value you formerly offered to those who thrived on conflict, drama, and gossip. They're finding that their favorite pastime, talking about your shortcomings, assessing your hardships, and making death predictions, has become rather dull because the story they were creating about your life was cut short by your unquestionable success. Their forecasts now seem ridiculous as the turnaround tale they refuse to accept plays out. The achievement they claimed would never come to pass is taking shape in ways that make their critique moot. However, the ennui is more profound. They are feeling spiritually empty as a result of creating identities based on resistance to your destiny. Their efforts to bring you to ruin have not paid off. Additionally, they're facing the opportunity cost of spending time on your life rather than creating their own. They no longer have the lively debates they used to have because failure is much more fascinating to talk about than victory. Previously generating hours of contemplation, gossip now elicits uninterested shrugs since victimhood has more entertainment value than vindication. No one knows how to fill the unpleasant stillness left by the disappearance of the Chardin Frieder that formerly fueled some meetings. This dynamic has the intriguing side effect of making old adversaries automatically look for new people to be mean to. However, because they personally invested in your failure, they are now realizing that the joy they gained from your apparent problems was special and irreplaceable. Because other people's difficulties don't carry the same weight of time, energy, and expectation, they don't produce the same emotional reward. It's jarring to hear the stillness surrounding your name in places where it used to offer a wealth of information. Now that the common adversary has turned into an unquestionable success story, those who formed social ties on a shared hostility to your achievement are finding those relationships lacking substance. They are left with the uneasy insight that their relationships were founded on negativity rather than sincere compatibility or constructive shared interests. Those aspirations that appeared too ambitious, too huge, or too unattainable weren't grandiose fantasies. In order to prepare you for what was always going to happen, the universe sent you prophetic downloads of your true destiny. Even when you sometimes doubted your own sanity and others wrote off your vision as fiction, divine intelligence was already lining up chances, connections, and resources to facilitate the creation of precisely what you saw. Most individuals are unable to access or understand the frequency levels at which the eyesight functions. People hear impossible when you explain the influence you will have in the future because they are evaluating your potential based on the situation at hand rather than on divine possibility. They determine that your future reach is restricted after looking at your current resources. After looking over your current network, they conclude that your ability to influence others is limited. They assess your existing platform and determine that there is little room for expansion. However, prophetic vision transcends the limitations of the present. It shows you the culmination of persistent progress, loyal development, and miraculous acceleration. The 10-year vision is not intended to be accomplished with 10 years of routine work. It is intended to be attained by tremendous momentum brought about by heavenly favor, calculated alliances, and breakthroughs that cause time frames to collapse into miraculous timing. Certain aspects that appear random in the vision are actually divine breadcrumbs that indicate the manifestation route. You weren't only motivated by the great numbers you saw. They were real aims supported by tactics for miraculous supply that were already underway. The places you had in mind weren't merely ideal travel spots. They were bases of operations for the future, waiting for you to arrive. The individuals you envisioned aiding were more than simply admirable goals. They were real assignments that were awaiting the conclusion of your preparation. This explains why the vision endures in spite of shifting conditions. Why, over time, it becomes more apparent rather than less. Why concentrating on it produces energy rather than fatigue. Genuine prophetic vision has divine DNA that cannot be created solely by optimistic thinking or human aspiration. It has inherent sustainability that endures through periods of opposition, delay, and seeming inconsistency. Selected 1. Messages like this are accessible to anyone, but few will take use of their full potential. That's what we're here to help you with. You've been waiting your entire life for this moment. The weekly Chosen Ones group calls are now available on Zoom. Destinies are forged in these interactions, which are actual power vortices, where the consciousnesses of the selected ones come together to form something that is impossible to exist separately. Everything changes at this point. Now is the perfect time to click the Super Thanks button on YouTube and share God's blessings. You can contribute to his plan and become a part of this divine mission with a donation of $100 or more. Every gift reflects God's generosity, and I believe it will return to you multiplied beyond your expectations. Remember, his protection and blessings are with you in every step you take and every donation you make. You become part of his divine plan. You are a powerful, radiant being, unshakable like his mighty rock. Witness God's miracles, feel the fruits of your generosity in your soul, and illuminate the world with this confidence and courage. Be blessed, and may the Lord's light guide your way. You enter your brilliance at this point. A portal opens once a week, but only for those who dare to enter. Members of the Obsidian Inner Order at the Watcher level can participate in these life-changing experiences and feel the energy flow through their whole body. Participants at our most recent meeting were astounded by information concerning the enormous pyramids of Giza, highly advanced ancient power facilities, and the startling reality of Washington, D.C.'s layout, which precisely matched the Kabbalistic tree of life. Members of the Star Chamber have unrestricted access to the entire recorded archive, which is a wealth of knowledge that increases in value every week. This is the moment that defines you. There is nowhere else to find the information, the connection, and the power that come via these calls. Become a member of the Obsidian Inner Order immediately. The description contains a link. Your attendance is not only appreciated, but also required while there are still a few Star Chamber spots available. The call has been ringing in your spirit. Will you answer it? Now is the moment. Your adversaries assaulted the vision because they knew it was real and what it meant. They were aware that if your vision came to pass, it would encourage others to think that their own unattainable goals might be realized. They tried to destroy your vision when it was still a baby in order to stop the revolution it would bring about when it grew up. However, because prophetic vision comes from a heavenly source and is protected by divine law, it cannot be destroyed by human resistance. The acceleration you're currently feeling is the universe bringing your internal vision and exterior reality up to speed. The opportunities, connections, and resources that are coming your way are not coincidental gifts. They're just what you need to bring the particular vision you were given to life. Every component is showing up at precisely the right moment to support the future you were given. You are being set up for a wealth transfer that works on principles that most people never comprehend because they're preoccupied with surface-level redistribution rather than cosmic reallocation based on divine assignment and authentic stewardship capacity, while your enemies were getting their spiritual reality check. Not simply money is being exchanged here. This is the redistribution of resources, opportunity, power, and favor in accordance with kingdom economics and universal justice. The transfer protocol works on several levels at once, causing a complete change that impacts all aspects of your life's resource allocation. The money that was being hoarded, mishandled, or used as a weapon against God is now going to genuine vessels who will double it via virtuous usage and kingdom growth. Opportunities for business that were monopolized by people without true vision are now available to those who would use them for purposes greater than their own financial gain. Influence platforms that were previously used for ego stroking and self-aggrandizement are being replaced with voices that will tell the truth and offer real value to those looking for real direction and inspiration. Access to relationships that were previously being used for selfish purposes is now being diverted to people who see that the purpose of the connection is not self-serving manipulation, but rather mutual elevation and kingdom development. What you're getting isn't the most important part of this move, though. It is what you are preparing to deal with. Your prior capability was unable to adequately handle the resources needed to carry out the vision you've been holding without being overwhelmed or corrupted. Your previous experience level was unable to handle the duties that come with the authority increase without making expensive errors that might cause your assignment to fail. This is why the transfer occurs quickly enough to coincide with the divine time for the activation of your assignment, yet slowly enough for you to adjust and acquire new skills. Testing levels rise with each new resource level, demonstrating your preparedness for the subsequent boost. Experiences that cultivate the character needed to manage increased responsibility without being tainted by privilege or power are a part of every expansion of influence. By ensuring that resources are not only sent to you, but also through you, the protocol makes you a conduit for divine supply that fulfills functions beyond your own desires and needs. Instead of being a place to store personal belongings, your task is to become a distribution hub for kingdom resources. Your comfort isn't the only use of the wealth. It is for the progress of your kingdom and the efficacy of your mission. In an attempt to prevent this transfer, your adversaries attacked your credibility and character in the hopes of disqualifying you from a heavenly advancement by reputation assassination. However, they found that human recommendation letters are not necessary for the deity to be promoted. The transmission of riches by God is based on spiritual characteristics that cannot be strengthened by public favor or undermined by outside resistance. You are not just being vindicated in some cosmic courtroom where truth has delivered its verdict and justice has been rendered. You are being crowned with unquestionable wisdom, unquestionable authority, and power that cannot be taken away or decreased. The heavenly mandate carried by the sovereign spirit that rises inside. You gives you miraculous grace and strategic power that changes every scenario you encounter and every location you inhabit. This sovereign awareness functions through visionary thinking that anticipates many future steps, diplomatic wisdom that negotiates agreements in the best interests of all parties, and protective instincts that fiercely and loyally guard what has been given to your supervision. You're making choices with the assurance of someone who recognizes their proper position in the divine hierarchy and takes on the obligations that accompany kingdom authority and spiritual kingship. Because of the phenomena created by the ascension, people automatically perceive your authority before you even say a word. Since spiritual power functions independently of human appointment or acknowledgement, your presence commands respect even in settings where you do not have an official title. Since genuine knowledge speaks with authority that doesn't need outside confirmation, your thoughts are heard in discussions even if you don't have any official qualifications. Your vision, your people, and your divine mission are fiercely protected by the sovereign energy, which does not put up with disrespect masquerading as constructive criticism, manipulation masquerading as neediness, or sabotage masquerading as useful advice. You have the discernment to see dangers before they become completely apparent and the power to get rid of them before they harm what you're creating. However, sovereignty also entails the duty to administer the land entrusted to your authority wisely. Instead of just using the resources that are coming your way for your own enjoyment, you need to strategically manage them to maximize their influence. The power bestowed upon you necessitates moral use that uplifts people instead of advancing your personal agenda. Instead of ego fulfillment, the platform demands substantial contributions that serve divine goals. Your domain is more than just your own achievements. It's a kingdom where people may find solace from the chaos of fake leadership, genuine direction for their own growth, and motivation to boldly and confidently follow their own divine missions. Not only is your vision captivating, but being around you makes people realize their own potential and gives them more confidence that they can accomplish seemingly insurmountable goals. When others see just problems, the sovereign energy's amazing intellect discovers answers. When others see only hurdles, it produces possibilities, and when others build walls, it develops bridges. This intelligence goes beyond simply improved human reasoning. Its prepared consciousness and divine knowledge work together to create results that further divine assignments and fulfill kingdom goals. What started out as a unique acceleration season has evolved into your permanent operating system, completely altering the way you operate in all facets of your life and ministry. You weren't only in the Mario Kart boost zone for a short time months ago. It was an update installation that made your previous constraints obsolete by permanently increasing your capacity for speed, efficiency, and effect. Every aspect of your life is affected by the acceleration at the same time, generating compound momentum that increases daily. The unnatural ease with which creative ventures continue to flow renders production timetables nearly meaningless, as ideas emerge more quickly than calendars can keep track of them. Since genuine authority pulls what it requires without coercion or force, business endeavors attract resources and relationships through a magnetic appeal that contradicts accepted marketing understanding. Concentrated experiences that condense years of education into epiphanies and moments of integration are the means by which personal growth occurs. With people who resonate with you, relationships develop and grow, forming a network of ties that are more akin to a spiritual family than conventional social or professional organizations. The efficacy of each relationship is multiplied by the others, producing exponential value as opposed to additive value. However, achieving long-term acceleration necessitates completely readjusting your strategy from managing expectations, decisions, and planning. Because you've established internal rhythms that correspond with the external momentum, the quick rate of change that previously felt overwhelming now feels normal. Many chances that once caused confusion are now sorted through user-friendly screening that instantly determines which ones are diversions and which ones relate to your job. The acceleration generates ongoing momentum that goes beyond success to legacy development. The abilities you acquire during this season are added to your capacity repertoire permanently. The connections you make become enduring parts of your network for cooperation and support. Your reputation serves as a long-lasting basis for chances you haven't even considered yet. The acceleration process that put you in perpetual upgrading mode was really initiated by your foes, who believed they were interfering with your development. The resistance they caused helped you develop the spiritual strength you needed to deal with the faster pace of divine advancement. Although they intended it to cause damage, the supernatural utilized it to give you the ability to move quickly, which makes you unstoppable as you go toward your goal. Supernatural timed synchronizations are part of the new normal, which is a routine practice as opposed to sporadic miracles.